Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is, gosh, I'm going to get this right one of these times, Jeff. It's Thursday, July the 10th. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me is my brother, Jeff. How are things going, Jeff?
Going good, Rod.
Yeah. Um, we also have our guest, Susan Fisher, with us. You can follow Susan at Brownstown76. Hey, Susan, how are you? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Again, thanks for having me on again. I've been doing all right, hanging in there, getting ready for I think there's an actual football game this month, if I'm not mistaken. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
actually getting close to to football and to having real stuff to talk about. I mean, we always find something to talk about, but yeah, yeah. So this is episode number 303, Jeff. Man, these things come around pretty fast, don't they?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on
All right.
303, guys.
303. Yeah, thanks. So so we found some stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to have fun and before we dig into the Browns talk, we always like to talk about our Blitz beverages. So let's dig into that, guys. Um, Susan, you're the guest. Are you drinking anything tonight?
Yeah, I am, and it's nothing fancy. It's just my favorite, but it's the koozie that makes it. So we got Bud Light Platinum. That's my drink of choice. But we have a koozie with all the NFL teams on it. So I came
Wow,
representing tonight.
Oh,
nice,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I see the Browns
sweet.
right up there too.
We are, yep.
Very nice.
Let's
Awesome.
go.
Yeah, that's pretty
What about
cool.
you guys?
Oh, Jeff, I understand you have something new tonight.
Yeah, so I was actually at the local watering hole last week, and uh, they used to only have two options in non-alcoholic. Now they've added some more choices, which is terrific. But they had a athletic Mexican style copper that I enjoyed, and I was able to pick up a six of this at the grocery store. I was kind of surprised to find it. So let me see if I can kind of show you the label here, Mexican style copper. Um, so athletic is kind of all non-alcoholic stuff. They've got several different types. But this is kind of like the Mexican lager, like your Modelo Negro or Dos Equis. A little bit more
Good stuff.
flavorful than a Corona, but yeah, it's a nice summertime beer, kind of a toasty taste to it. Yeah, real enjoyable. So yeah, I look forward to having some more of these.
Yeah, I like the Mexican lagers. Some of them have a little bit of a salty taste to them, just a touch, which kind of
Yeah,
just
I don't
it's
get that from this.
not from that one. I've had a few that are like that. I mean, most of them are like the Modelo's and that
Coronas, La
just have a real nice
Pacifica.
taste. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
saltiness kind of I've had in a few of them. And it's nice in the summer. So, guys, I put a poll out on X, and I didn't give people much time to vote. So the vote, of course, it came up to a tie, 50% to 50% on these two beers. So I'm gonna drink. I'll just drink one this week and one next week. So I'm gonna drink this Diebold Belgian Cowboy Belgian IPA, and
Nice.
I
Gosh,
didn't
that's
even look
good.
at where this is from. It's 6.5% ABV. It's brewed in. Oh man, it's brewed in Denver. Um,
Uh,
it's kind of a no-no. But I get these things from all over the place. I never know where they're from, but it still tastes pretty good. I've only had a few sips of it, so um, yeah. I like Belgian beers and getting more into the IPA. So yeah, it's a pretty good choice. I think um,
nice.
I think people voted for it because of the can. The can looks pretty cool. So
I think so.
yeah, we'll give the people from Denver a little bit of credit, I guess.
Never.
For something, not for football, but for something, right?
Maybe.
Sounds great.
So let's move on to Browns news. Okay, now that we've covered that, there's really
not much
nothing
this
out
week
there in the
going on, huh?
news, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
There's unless you want to talk about potential trades and things like that, or things that have happened to guys who formerly played with the Browns. There's really nothing worth talking about in the news that I saw, that I've seen, that that I've heard about. So we'll
Kind
work
of
in a
in
few
a
things.
pre-training camp lull right now.
Yeah, right now people are taking a break, which is probably some of the writers, reporters too, kind of gearing up, getting their energy ready for
Right.
for training camp
Right.
coming up in about 2 weeks. So yeah.
Yep.
So Jeff, you and I have talked about a lot of stuff over the past few weeks because we've been in a little bit of a lull. We've had some mini camps and things like that, and still kind of digesting some of the stuff from the draft. So I have to give Susan credit. I said, "Hey, Susan, what would you like to talk about tonight?" And she gave me a list of topics. So we're really going to go over a lot of the stuff that Susan brought up, and we've just added a couple things to it, kind of expanded on a few of the things. But
Yeah.
this is really her show tonight. So
we'll have to give her producer credit.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing she mentioned was the linebacking core, and we really haven't talked a lot about the linebackers yet, and it's kind of an interesting room, with the with a couple of additions, and and the news that where, as far as what we know about JOK right now. So things are going to be different, but it still, to me anyways, looks like a pretty strong room. So I'm going to go to you guys one at a time and kind of get your thoughts on how you think the room looks right now. We'll just start with that. So Susan, what are your thoughts on this linebacker room? Because there's some pretty decent players in this room.
There really is. It, in my opinion, that's like one of the weakest, has been one of our weakest spots outside of JOK in the play that he's done. There hasn't been that flex. I mean, you go back when, and it's like you say Clay Matthews, and it's like, yes, you knew that was the dude back then. You know what I mean? JOK was our dude. Like, who is going to be that guy? Is it the guy that we drafted? I have no idea. Is someone else going to step up, take a step, show growth? I have no idea. But I know that you have to have, especially in the AFC North, you have to have a linebacking core that is sound in the run and in the pass. And if you don't, especially the way JOK would like split blocks and stuff, to attack people behind the line, you have to have that. You have to have that disruption. That's what makes the defensive line better. That's what makes your corners stellar, if they're on an island. I just don't know how it's going to look for us this year, I guess. And I'm hoping that it becomes a strong suit for us, as opposed to, in my opinion, what was an area of weakness.
Yeah. It looks good on paper with some of the guys, but so Jeff, how do you see the linebacker room? And I guess, how do you see the linebackers being used this season? Do you think there's going to be any change? Do you still? I wouldn't expect much change just because of the strength of the defensive line and the supposed strength of the defensive backs. But do you see much of a change there with some of the additions? And what do you think of these guys? Okay, well, we'll get Jeff's thoughts on that when he jumps back in. A little bit of technical difficulty, but yeah, I mean, Susan, we've got they got Carson Schlesinger, the
UCL.
rookie.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see how he is. He's obviously highly thought of to be taken with with that 33rd pick. I'm already forgetting about the numbers on the draft because it's been a month or two. So
Not only that, but we're looking forward to the season starting.
That's right. That's right. So you got him and Jerome Baker, who's coming in. I think a lot of people have a lot of faith in him too. And then you add Jordan Hicks, Devin Bush looked pretty good last season. I don't know about Diabate as a starter. I mean, Jeff and I have been big supporters of him. Jeff loved him when he was signed as a UDFA, and he's really played well when he's been out there. And you still have Winston Reed and Nathaniel Watson beyond that. And obviously, you need some of these guys for special teams too.
Yes, you do.
So
yes, you do. That the Diabate. He is a good, solid. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh my God. Yeah.
We got you.
As I was saying before, River Trash canceled me. Jeez.
We were talking about Diabate, and Roger telling me how much you really, really like him. I agree. I like him a lot too. He's always seems to be in the right spot at the right time kind of player. He's a cerebral guy. I like him.
I mean, one of the things I was going to say is that Jerome Baker is listed on the depth chart as our number 3 Mike behind Diabate. So that tells you the kind of depth that we have. Jerome Baker could play for a lot of teams in this league. So yeah, I think it's a nice luxury to have guys who can play special teams and contribute pretty much every down. So it's going to be hard cutting down to 6, really, because I think there's some nice young guys. We've got a couple of recent draft picks in that room that we want to hang on to. So I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, it would be a lot better if JOK was around. But I think we'll be all right at linebacker.
They've done a nice job of building that room, obviously with more knowledge than the public had about JOK. Things were really quiet. We didn't know, what was going on with JOK. I think at this point we're all just hopeful that he's good. We'd love to see him play football again. But, if not, if the guy's healthy, great. Has a good life, fine.
Yeah.
If he can't play again, man, he was a hell of a player for, the time that we got to see him play.
Exactly.
Just one of those guys that I don't think we're going to, forget, even if he doesn't get back to the field.
I would intentionally watch the Notre Dame games just to watch him play on defense. That's how much I liked him before we even drafted him. So when we drafted him, I was stoked.
Yeah.
And he comes as advertised. I just hope he's, like you said, Rod, healthy, Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be tough cuts, but these things tend to take care of themselves. They got 5, 7. I got 7 guys written down. There's some guys that are, edge guys, tweeners, whatever. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. So Susan's next point, and I think it's a good one, is it was about this being a make or break season for Martin Emerson, MJ Emerson. And the thing is, everybody's been so focused on Greg Newsome and was he going to be traded, and we talked a lot about him playing in the slot and playing out of position or whatever, or everybody's been so focused on Greg Newsome that Martin Emerson, he's in a contract year too,
Yep.
right? So it's really interesting that we got both of these guys in a contract year. And this has been the supposed strength of the Browns for a few seasons, the corners. And as long as you have Denzel Ward, it's still a strength.
Yes.
But, you can, anybody else is replaceable, but, Denzel's another type of player altogether. But I think Emerson, with his size and what we've seen of him back in his rookie season, it feels more like he's the kind of guy who could have, I guess you call it a rebound season, and really play well. And you would almost expect something like that in a contract year like this, wouldn't you guys?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's what I've said a couple of weeks ago about all these guys being in that situation. They've got a lot to play for, and motivation, as I was telling Susan before we started recording, motivation shouldn't be a problem this year.
Yeah,
shouldn't be a problem at all. The flashes that you see from him sometimes are awesome to watch. You're like,
yeah.
he was right. It's like right there, perfect. This year, though, I think you're right. I think this would be like a bounce back year, contract year.
Yeah.
Knowing that you got better defensively on a defensive line, so you're going to get more pressure. That means you're not going to have to cover for quite as long. We have new safeties. Sorry.
Right.
Backup safeties.
We'll see about that position. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I really like the way he plays. I really do. When he came in. If him and Newsome can, like you guys say, grind it out, play for a contract, an awesome contract, stay motivated, stay hungry, we could have probably the strongest in the NFL, in my opinion, if they can do it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how we felt probably in Emerson's rookie season. Back then, when he was so good, with Denzel back there. So it's hard to say, but I mean, those guys definitely have the talent to be able to do that. I mean, so many people were calling for Greg Newsome to be traded, and I'm segueing from Emerson to Newsome. But are you guys surprised that Greg Newsome's still on the team? That they didn't do something to trade him? Do you think they talked about trading him and just didn't find takers because of that salary? I just kind of wonder about that. It kind of felt like trading Greg Newsome almost made sense with his salary and everything, with him being probably the number 3 corner on the team.
Yeah. The thing is, if it makes sense to us, why would it make sense to another team? So I think they probably had a hard time finding a partner. If they were genuinely trying to move him. I'm not even sure they were.
Well, that's what I wonder. And just because he's the number 3 corner on the Browns doesn't mean he would be the number 3 corner somewhere else. That's kind of my thought. But
right.
I guess there's not near the positive NFL footage of Greg Newsome that there is of the other guys.
Yeah,
you're correct.
It's like we've talked over the last couple seasons, Rod, with him playing inside in the slot, it's really not set him up for that kind of a reputation in the league. And I think his value took a huge hit as a result.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's hope he balls out this year. Let's hope he shows the league what he's all about. I hope he does. He's got the speed.
Yeah.
He's quick.
He's got every reason to.
He's got hands. Contract year. I hope he does. Yep. But I did see a lot of speculation of him possibly getting moved, and I thought that was interesting that he was one of the pieces. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably depends on how the season goes, right? I mean, if the Browns lose a whole bunch of games, you could see him moved at the trade deadline. You're not going to get a lot for him, right? But
right. Well, I mean, if he goes on to be a free agent, there would be some kind of a compensatory pick, I would assume, for him. So,
right.
I would think.
Again, though,
right?
I mean, how much? What would that really look like? You know, realistically, it's probably a day 3 pick either way.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking round 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I was just, and again, I'm going back to the NFL draft. There were so many needs on this team, but I thought they would draft a corner, just because of Emerson and Newsome both being in the final year of their contract. But they've drafted other guys. I don't know how comfortable they are with other guys on the team. I don't know if there's anybody that's ready to step in and be a starter in 26.
Yeah.
I would think that's more likely that they draft somebody in 26 or try to sign somebody, if they don't re-sign either of these guys.
Best case scenario, these guys go out and play well, like we said, and they earn another contract, right? And they stay here. If they don't, then you give that contract to a free agent. I don't know that a draft choice would necessarily be able to step in and play right away, versus Cam Mitchell or Miles Harden or somebody else who's on the depth chart right now.
Yeah.
But I think what the Browns really want to see is these guys go out and play really well this year and earn another contract. That'd be great for everybody.
It makes a lot of sense. It really does. And I think we can just hope that what you keep bringing up, Jeff, as far as so many guys being in a contract season, contract year, pushes the team, and and that the team just does, exceeds expectations, because I'm sure around the league. I'm sure around the league, how the Browns won 3 games last year, and they're not going to be any good.
Right.
So the Browns should have a chance. At least the early part of the schedule, everybody's calling a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Nobody's given that. And Jeff, you've been guilty of this, okay? And I'm not calling you out or anything. Maybe you haven't used the word gauntlet, but you said it. The first 6 whatever games or so are very tough.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Tough sledding.
It is, and they're tough games. But how many of those teams are taking the Browns seriously?
Yeah, probably none of them.
How many of them are just looking at the calendar and saying, okay, we got the Browns here. Oh, and then we play this team. We're going to circle. That's a big game.
Right. Yeah.
That's so sad, but we're so accustomed to it.
Yeah. But
right.
they might be able to sneak up on some teams in the first 4 weeks or so. You never know. I mean, if these guys are playing like it's their contract year, and if they get good play out of the positions that they need to get good play out of, particularly QB, whoever's out there, and it still goes back to penalties and turnovers and all that stuff. But but if they play well and those guys have all that to play for, there's a chance that they could surprise some people.
Defense wins championships. especially in our division. So,
And there's
defense-
every reason to believe that the defense can bounce back, right?
yes, I don't see why not.
I mean, it's probably
Yeah.
easier to explain why the defense had an off year last year than anything else. It's just the hopelessness of most of the situations they're put in, right?
Yes, constantly on the. You get tired. We all know they get tired,
Right.
and then people just attack long, or they just pound it down your throat. They just run you into the ground. That's the game of football. And if you're not good enough to keep up, then you lose. But that's exhausting when you have that kind of talent, and then it just constantly happens where there's pass interference, offsides, whatever, all the penalties or the mishaps, or it's infuriating. It's
Right.
demoralizing, and that's
Yeah.
probably why
Yeah.
they gave up.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully improved scheme brings improved luck.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, Susan, I'm not picking on you. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you said defense wins championships. I think that phrase has been around for a long time. So Jeff, I'm going to go to you. And is that still true in today's NFL with the passing league and scoring points? I feel like it's been a long time since a team with just a great defense has won a championship. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to have a good defense to win, though. So I just wanted to get your thoughts. And is that still what wins championships, or should that phrase be changed now for the NFL?
I think an offense gets you to the championship. I think a great defense will win you the championship game, as evidenced by last year's Super Bowl. If you can put pressure on the opposing team's offense and make them make mistakes, and your defense can capitalize on those mistakes, the NFL is a very opportunistic league. And when those kinds of errors, turnovers, like you mentioned, that's what shifts games in your favor. Your offense just has to be able to play clean and possess the ball and let the defense create those kind of opportunities, right? I don't think we're in a scenario of, a few years back when the West Coast offense came into vogue, Air Coryell, we were throwing the ball for touchdowns all the time. Defenses are a lot better now. They're able to stop that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, I still think it's relevant. I think you have to have a viable offense, which we obviously didn't have last year. But
yeah,
but our defense is good enough.
Just the defense won't do it, but yeah.
Right. Our defense is good enough to win us a championship if our offense can get us there.
Yeah,
if we could have just stopped Chad Henne on 4th and 9, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
For God's sake, yes.
I'm sorry, but that's what I'm saying. It's like that level. That should have never happened. That was crazy.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But it did. We're the Cleveland Browns.
That's right. So let's move on to the next to Susan's next topic. And Susan, Jeff and I have actually talked about this a little bit on the show, so I want to get your thoughts on it. And that's who's going to start week 1. And I think you're talking about the QB.
Correct.
So QB is such a huge topic for this team, with not only 4 or 5 quarterbacks on the roster, and the 2 draft picks next season. There's so much to figure out. So for me, it's not only who starts week 1, it's kind of what's your plan for the season too. How do you see the season? So Jeff and I have talked about this. So let's get your thoughts on that. How you see things what you would do or how you hope things go, however you want to put it out there.
I would start Flacco. That's exactly what I would do. He did extremely well in Stefanski's system. He understands it. He's the type of quarterback that if I'm going to give someone keys to like an expensive car, I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to trust him to do what I need him to do from the get. I don't know if us acquiring Kenny Pickett was nothing more than like perhaps if something happens to another team, we can acquire another asset and trade him. I don't know if that is what that is. I don't know I think if Sanders could just watch Flacco, that'd be great. Gabriel, kid's got an arm. He really does. But I'm not wasting the talent that we have, not knowing what a player can do in the NFL right now. We already know what Flacco can do, right? But I'm not just going to hand it over to someone else and be like, well, we better hope. I mean, we have these players under contract, but I don't know. Our offensive line's getting older. There's some changes that may occur. We need to capitalize on what we have, especially talent-wise, in my opinion now, especially when you have a generational talent on the defensive side, too, actually, in my opinion, and you have the weapons that you have, there's no reason not to put Flacco out there to start and to carry that team. If we had, I don't know, honestly, if we had brought him back last year. I know that was a big thing. He ended up going to the Colts or whatever. I don't think he would have flourished in Dorsey's system. I don't think a lot of people flourish in Dorsey's system. So I'm kind of glad that he skipped that part, and then we re-signed him. I thought it was kind of comical. I was like, well, okay, at least he's now back to Stefanski's. But that's what I would do. Start him. He's the leader in the locker room. He's the one that's calm. He shows up, does what he needs to. You know what I mean? He is just that guy. And I want to make sure that everyone around me has opportunity. He threw to how many, like 8 different wide receivers in a game once? That's insane. That means we got the talent. It's just the quarterback's not finding them, schematically or reads or defense or whatever. But that is what I would do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rod, I was listening to Mary Kay on Ken Carman's show today, which I don't do a lot, but honestly, but I think she made a great point that Joe Flacco gives you the opposite of Kenny Pickett, vice versa.
Okay.
Joe Flacco is going to give you big plays, and he's also going to cause big mistakes. Kenny Pickett is kind of like the opposite. He's going to be a little bit more in control. He can move a little bit better and maybe create, but he's not going to give you the big plays, right? I think this offense is probably going to be more geared around Kenny Pickett's style than Joe Flacco's style. You almost have to be with 2 rookies that you're planning to play at some point this year. But with all that said, I agree with Susan. I still think you play Flacco early on because he's the vet. He's the guy that gives you the best chance to develop a stable, successful offense. But here's what I think about Joe Flacco. I think he will give us every reason in preseason to play him week 1, and he will give us every reason in the ensuing few games to play someone else.
Don't say that. Come on. No.
The thing is, you just don't know how many games there'll be because Joe might go out there and throw 4 touchdowns to no picks in the week 1.
Yeah.
And then
that's his history,
and he might have a
league,
decent.
right?
Yeah, and he might have a decent line week 2, and then week 3 he might go out there and throw 3 horrible picks and just look awful.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're going to get with him, I think, at this stage in his career. It's going to be fun to
I mean,
watch, though.
That's what we got from him the last time he was here.
I know. But
Yeah,
Everybody forgets about the Houston game, though.
But I know that was awful. But everyone seemed to play awful. It's almost like they had our playbook. It was wild. But
yeah,
the addition of Harold Fannin, very interesting, along with Njoku, and then our running backs now. And if we actually utilize them, imagine that. Could be electric. He wouldn't have to do the deep down if we can establish around. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And as much as I hate to say it, that the running backs and the 2 tight ends really pulls you more toward what Jeff's saying. And it goes with the 2 rookies. And that's more ball control versus airing it out. And it does play more toward Kenny Pickett. But again, I don't think we're going to see that early, because I would do the same thing. I would play Joe Flacco early, make sure whoever's going to play after him is ready. Whether I don't care which of the rookies it is. If Sanders isn't ready to play week 3, 4, 5, 6, then put Dylan Gabriel out there for a few weeks. I don't know. I don't know what there is to learn by playing Kenny Pickett, unless he wins the job out of training camp and goes out there and just is great in this offense and starts winning games. I don't see a need to turn the keys from Joe Flacco after 4 or 5 weeks to Kenny Pickett. I don't know why you do that and leave the rookies sitting on the bench rotting, because you got, to me, by the end of this season, you need to know what you're doing with those draft picks next year. You need to know if you got to draft another quarterback or not.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have 2 draft picks, every 2 first-round draft picks every single season. At least I don't think so. Maybe they could push one into 27. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what their plan is, but I mean, that's kind of the way I see it. It's very interesting, and I think I said on one of the pods that's one of the things I'm most excited about for this season, is just to see how the QB position unfolds and what they do with it. Whether we're all screaming at the TV or whether we're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. I see what they did here. This was pretty smart."
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this then. In preseason, do we play Pickett and do we play the 2 rookies? Like, give them substantial amount of reps. Is that how you see that?
I think they'll all play.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they'll all play. I don't know if it would be equal play time, but I don't see why it shouldn't be pretty equal between the 3 of them.
I don't think you'll see much of Flacco, but you'll see probably equal amounts of the other 3.
That'll be interesting to watch then, won't it?
Yeah. Well,
because I think, and I'm not starting a Kenny Pickett movement here, but I think a lot of people have written Kenny Pickett off, and probably rightly so. Because he doesn't seem to fit. He was the first piece in this, and then it's like they added the other 3 pieces, and it's like, well, what do we need this guy for? It's like they took him because they thought they might need him, and now it's like, oh, well, we don't need him anymore. So it's like, well, what if he actually plays in the preseason and looks great? I don't know.
Yeah.
Then the final preseason game, you play all 4. They each get a quarter. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. That sounds cool. Okay, everybody gets a quarter. Let's go.
It would be a great problem to have, but let's talk probabilities here.
It's not real high.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on.
Let's go on to the next one here. So this one's really good. So Susan, I think I think really all you were saying was does Mason Graham really impact the defensive line? I think that's how you messaged it to me. And
Yeah.
so, Jeff, did you have anything on this, or you want to wait till later for your stuff? You
Yeah,
have
no,
you have
I'll
some
put
stats
it.
on this, right? You have some
I'll
stuff to
put. Yeah, I'll
post,
put.
but you want
Yeah,
me
I'll
to
put up the
talk
Mason
about
Graham
my
stuff.
stuff first, right? What I have.
Yeah, you can go over that if you want. Sure.
Okay, so it just got me thinking. Hey, what do we expect out of Mason Graham? You know, as
Right.
a rookie defensive tackle. I mean, yeah, he's
Yeah.
drafted number 5. You know, so you expect some impact. You hope for some impact. I mean, and I'm kind of thinking Mike Hall's almost a rookie too. You hope he has some impact this season. But we're really going to
Mhm.
focus on Mason Graham here. So I thought, what were a couple of defensive tackles that the Browns took that were either taken high or had impact on the team? And the two guys I thought of, and I'm sure there are other guys, Jeff, which you'll probably get to. But one was Michael Dean Perry, and Michael Dean Perry was, I thought I wrote it down here. Michael Dean Perry was actually the 50th pick in the draft, believe it or not.
Mhm. Yep.
As a rookie, Michael Dean Perry played 16 games, 51 tackles, 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and I think he scored a touchdown on that fumble recovery. The other guy was big money, Gerard Warren, who he was what, the
Big
third
waste
pick,
of
Jeff?
money.
Big waste of money, but listen to his stats compared to Michael Dean Perry's. He played
Yeah.
as a rookie, 15 games, 61 tackles, 5 quarterback sacks, no fumble recoveries, 6 passes defensed. So I assume that's probably batted balls, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they kept that stat when Michael Dean Perry was playing for
Right.
defensive tackles, or he may have had some too.
Right.
So yeah, so pretty similar, and you know, so it just got me thinking: is that a line that we would be happy with for him? You know, for Mason Graham, you know, 50 tackles, 5 sacks. Would you guys be happy with that?
Yeah.
Well, one of our guys
No.
average. What did our guys average last year? What was our highest graded defensive tackle last year? Because anything above that would definitely be an upgrade.
Oh, I don't know if anybody
Dalvin
had 5.
Tomlinson?
Yeah, I don't know if Dalvin Tomlinson had 5 sacks.
No.
Did he?
No, he
He
probably
had
had 3.
he may have had 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff added a few guys, and
Well, just really one.
okay, you added
Yeah,
Phil
so-
Taylor.
Yeah. So these are guys, and you mentioned, you know, where they were picked and so forth, Rod. Michael Dean Perry played for the Browns for 7 seasons. He only missed 3 games in 7 seasons.
That's important.
And had a 9-year career. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very productive. I mean, 51 and a half sacks in 7 seasons. He was the dominant player on that defensive line.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to invoke Aaron Donald, but a la Aaron Donald in terms of, you know, how he was the dominant player. Right.
Can I
Big
pause
waste
for
of money
just
played.
Can I pause for
Yeah.
just a second, Jeff? If people think
Yeah.
that Miles is offsides a lot, the younger teams, they didn't see Michael Dean Perry play.
No, they didn't.
Right. Right. Right.
He
Yeah.
lined up.
That's
He
true.
lined up partially in the neutral zone on almost every
Oh.
play.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, so Gerard Warren is probably the closest comp in terms of, you know, what the team gave up to get him asset wise. Number 3 pick in 01. played 4 seasons, missed only 4 games in 4 seasons, and produced 18.5 sacks. Michael Dean Perry, by the way, 5 Pro Bowls in his career.
He was a great player.
Seven seasons with the Browns and 3 times an All-Pro, I believe. So yeah, really nice player, taken in the second round. Gerard Warren, the Browns kind of expected Michael Dean Perry kind of numbers out of Gerard Warren, taking him 3rd in the draft. Didn't happen. Of course, again, in 01, Gerard Warren wasn't surrounded by the kind of talent that, Mason Graham will have the luxury of playing with.
Very true, Jeff. Very true on that one.
Yeah. Those were some lean years.
Yeah.
Phil Taylor in 2011 was the 21st pick. He played 4 seasons also. He missed 18 games in 4 seasons, and that was kind of his undoing. He had 7 sacks in those 4 seasons, and Phil Taylor was basically done after 4 seasons. So, expectations wise, Mike Hall, last year's top pick, basically. 8 games played, 9 games missed. It really boils down to your ability, your availability, and do you deliver on the expectation? And for Mason Graham, the 5th pick in the draft, the expectations are going to be high. Lining up next to Myles Garrett, it's only going to ramp up the expectations. I would expect him to have a Michael Dean Perry kind of career. I think it will be disastrous for the Browns if he doesn't. It may not happen, right out of the gate, because he is adjusting a little bit from the philosophy of his college coach, right?
Right.
To a more attacking type of defense. But I think the opportunities will be there for him to really make a name for himself. And man, if he does, then all that does is makes Myles happier, and it creates all kinds of opportunities for everybody else on the defense. And you can start talking about putting together a championship level defense.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Michael Dean Perry's stats, Jeff, and he had 5 sacks as a rookie. He averaged 8 sacks a season after that as a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I would
scary.
be more than happy if that was a baseline for Mason Graham. That would be excellent.
That's pretty serious.
Well, that's probably a ceiling. I mean, in my mind, if he plays better than Michael Dean Perry, we will have hit a home run.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's one of the positions we've really struggled to address and achieve, it seems like recently. But you have Hall in there next to him. I don't know. They might both have Hall will have a really good, hopefully full season. But I hope Graham
it'll
really
be interesting. Be interesting to see how often those 2 guys are on the field together. I almost see them as sub package players, right? So I mean, Mason Graham definitely will be a 3-down player, but I think Malik Collins is probably going to be next to him on 1st and 2nd down. So maybe Mike Hall is in there on 3rd down. It's just going to be interesting to see how Schwartz deploys those guys.
Yeah, you got
Malik
Collins.
I love watching offenses, but watching a good defense, I will stop what I'm doing to watch a defense. That is my jam.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we just come out and just rip them.
Yeah, sure hope so. Yeah, I mean, you had Malik Collins and
yeah,
go ahead. I was just gonna say, and you still got Shelby Harris and
right.
Maybe I don't know who else. I don't know if Jawan Briggs. I mean, but
right.
it's pretty promising defensive tackle room there too. So to be able to rotate those guys.
There's
it's a group.
You said Collins. Yeah. Hopefully it's good.
It's going to be able to get after the quarterback. So,
Yes.
you know, Philly showed us last year that you know, an attacking defensive line can do a lot of good things for you. You know, that would be nice. So I just had Mason Graham's rookie deal on here. His APY 10.2 million. I wanted to flip over. I'm kind of doing this backwards of how I originally planned it, but just to give you a perspective on where that ranks on the team. There's been a lot of talk about, you know, the Watson contract and how that's hampering us from a salary cap standpoint and everything. I thought I'd put up the top 10, well, the top 9 or 10 players, because as you'll see, Mason Graham actually, I think, ranks 10th on the team. Where we're sitting salary wise for these guys, it's pretty interesting. So let me flip over to that real quick. So Deshaun Watson with the 46 million, he's actually now 13th in the NFL in APY. So
Yeah.
what really I think, yeah, I mean, and yeah, what really has created the noise around that contract is the guaranteed money, right? But when you look at what guys are being paid, you know, he's now 13th in the league. Miles just got a giant contract that's going to take us out to 2034 or something. 40 million bucks a year, and that makes him 18th in the league, but the number one edge defender, number one defensive player, period, right?
Yeah, because QBs are always going to be higher, even if they're
So that,
you know,
that's interesting.
15th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, the top 15 in the league are all quarterbacks, and 17 of the top 20 are quarterbacks. Okay. It's also interesting to look at some of the top quarterbacks who are not up there, including Patrick Mahomes. But anyway, just to kind of run down through the rest of this, Denzel Ward obviously deserves that contract, but he's 90th in the NFL in terms of what he earns every year.
The number 6 cornerback. I mean, that sounds low, but if you look at the corners, I mean, there are some good corners who are probably, you know, I mean, we think Denzel's the best. There are some very good corners that are probably pretty close to Denzel. So, you know, he's in that range. So,
yeah, I would not have guessed I would not have guessed that 89 guys in the league made more money than Denzel Ward, and that there were 5 quarterbacks making more money.
Well, it sounds like corner's underpaid it. I mean, corner is not valued as high as other positions right now, is what that tells me.
I just think, yeah, well, there's probably some truth to that, but Denzel's been on his contract a little bit longer, and you know, we're a little bit later in his contract, so it's much more of a value at this point, right?
It is, yeah. And that's how you have to look at it, because nobody's going to cry for anybody who signs a $100 million contract.
I'm not.
Right. Yeah. But this also goes to what I've been saying about guys in contract years and so forth. Because if you look at this list, the top 9, in terms of core players for the franchise, I mean, Watson, we know what the deal is there. I mean, we're eating that money. Garrett's a cornerstone. Ward's a cornerstone. Judy's a cornerstone. Bitonio and Teller are probably gone after this season. And Njoku is in his walk year. Talking extension, could stick around, might move on. JOK, we know the story. And Delpit, again, his deal looks like a steal at this point, right?
Yeah.
His extension, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then just interestingly, number 10, as I mentioned, is Mason Graham. Any thoughts on who number 11 is?
Let's see.
I'll give it to you. Malik Collins.
Really?
Yeah, he's
so
making 10 million a year, right?
Mason's at 10.2. Malik Collins is at 10. And Malik
Okay.
Collins is the guy that everybody forgets about. Okay. But the Browns didn't pay him $10 million over the course for 2 consecutive years to come in here and sit on the bench. He's going to play. Trust me, he's
Yeah.
going to play a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, looking at the top 10, and as you get into the metrics of roster building and stuff, I think the Browns are positioned pretty well with their high dollar contracts. You know, we've got some core guys on some fairly favorable deals, and we've got other guys who are dropping off in a year or two. Delpit's got
Yeah.
2 years left on his deal. JOK's got 2 years left on his deal. Might end up being an insurance thing. So yeah, I mean, all in
But
all,
also,
we're not
Jeff, you have to
not in
remember,
nearly as bad a shape.
don't forget, we have Emerson and Newsome coming up on contract years. So even though we look good as far as that goes,
Yeah.
there's going to be some added to it.
Depending on how they play, yeah. You would think that they would sign one of those guys, right? I mean,
Right.
that's kind of my
Possibly.
thought.
Possibly, yeah.
Depending on how they play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, Jeff.
So then the last thing I didn't mention is Jerry Jeudy is the number 23 wide receiver in terms of APY. And I think that leads into Susan's next question.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we add a wide receiver? Which we've kind of wondered about. You know, the Browns have done a lot as far as, you know, stacking the quarterback room, you know, drafting other positions, you know, especially at, you know, the running backs, but, you know, in another tight end. But wide receiver just seems a little bleak. I mean, you give Jerry Jeudy credit, but it's really a bunch of guys with question marks there. As much as I want to look at these guys and say, man, a couple of these guys have to step up. It's really unproven commodities after Jerry Jeudy in that running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really is.
So what I want to do, I'm going to flip this over. I want to give you a comp for Jerry Jeudy. First of all, just to sort of establish his value to the organization. Okay. And I pulled up Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you look at these two guys, pretty similar. Both 26 years old, both about the same size. Judy's got an extra season in the league. Yardage is a little bit less for Jeudy. Touchdowns is a lot more for St. Brown. But the interesting one to me is Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you look at his usage, 90 receptions in 2021, his rookie season, is the fewest he's ever had in a season. He's been over 100 receptions every season since.
They throw to him constantly. I mean, yeah.
Constantly, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy had 90 receptions last season, which just happened to set the single season franchise reception record, passing Ozzie Newsome, who had 89 back in the 1980s. Okay. So it gives you a little bit of perspective on how the Browns use wide receivers. Okay.
Right.
Our best receiver last year, who set a record for receptions, our number one guy, okay, had a little over 1,100 yards, right? Should we go out and grab another guy that's going to demand that kind of usage, right? My question is where's the throws going to come from? How are we going to find that guy with the ball, right? And what does that do to Jerry Jeudy, right?
Yeah. What's your offense? Yeah. What kind of offense are you running?
Right. So right now, you know, St. Brown is making $30 million based on the fact that, you know, he's been high volume. Jeudy has never been high volume. Yeah. Judy's never been high volume. Right. So 17.5. Right. So for me, Judy's a really good value as your number one guy. Could we afford to have a second guy? Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think Jerry Judy, if he hadn't have gotten out of Denver, would have flourished as much. He really seemed to flourish in our offense. And that's not a knock on him. That's on like utilization.
And that's in a terrible offense.
Yeah,
The-
exactly.
Yeah,
How
but
good? How
that
good
threw the
is
ball
this
a
guy
lot.
really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. To Jerry Judy. I mean, honestly, I mean, he had a ton of targets last year, a ton,
Right.
and that's not taking
Yep.
anything away from him. I mean, he proved he could catch the ball, and he was the most reliable guy out there. So,
Mhm.
it was, he deserved it. But
Yes.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that was just the offense last year. Throw it to Jerry Judy.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
it was.
Right. It kind of
was
was.
open.
Yeah.
He was open.
Yeah.
And you prayed that he could
Yeah.
break a tackle and just pull away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll see what the offense looks like this year.
Yeah. So I another name that's been bandied about the last few days, Terry McLaurin of the Commanders.
Yep.
Supposedly there's opportunity there. I just want to throw out that Terry McLaurin is 30 years old. Has been a great player, consistent player, 1,000 yards a season plus every year. Terry McLaurin is the number 16 wide receiver in APY. Jerry Judy is, what did I say, number 20 something? 23. Yeah. St. Brown is 6. So Terry McLaurin, his cap charge this year is 25.5 million.
It's a lot of
Can the
dough.
Browns?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Where are we going to come up with $25.5 million for a 30-year-old receiver?
Yeah.
Sounds like a
It's a lot
bad
of
idea
money.
to me.
It's a lot of money for a
Pat
team that
Van
just
Gilbert.
drafted 2 running backs. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I guess my point is okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind us having another viable wide receiver in the room, but A, where's he going to come from? B, how are we going to pay him? And C, how many targets is he legitimately going to expect in our offense? Historically, the Browns don't throw the ball much. And we're talking about going back to 12 personnel and tons of running. What are we going to do with that second guy?
I thought it was interesting that we actually let Elijah Moore go. I liked him. I don't think we utilized him quite enough. I know he's good enough. He's quick. He's fast. It just felt like he never. It felt like he didn't fit with us schematically, even though we like him. He's good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's time to find out what they have in some of these other guys if they're not going to bring somebody in, and I think they're going to end up, kind of doing a rebuild on the wide receiver room next year behind Judy if nobody else steps up this year.
Do you think Deontay Johnson has a chance to do that? Do you think he can put everything aside and just focus on football? Because he is very talented.
I think he has a chance to do that. Do I think he can put everything aside and focus on football? Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
2 separate things.
He's got so much talent.
Yeah. I mean, they're giving him an opportunity. What he does with it is strictly up to him.
Yep.
Right.
Can he make it through a season? Yeah, I don't know. Or can he make it? Can he make it through the preseason long enough and impress enough people to even make the team? That's the first step.
True.
I think that's a long shot.
Probably, but yeah. I mean I think if he shows enough and the Browns actually like him, it wouldn't be hard to win a spot in this wide receiving.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
But if he's a screw up and doesn't play well and doesn't seem serious, the Browns aren't going to mess with that. Why would they?
Yeah.
Play the younger guys, see if anybody can do anything, and if not, you're rebuilding your wide receiver room next season because you're hopefully going to be set at several other positions, and you're going to have to look, offensive line and wide receiver, and a couple spots on the defense next year. And in addition to everything else you're going to need.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, let's move on to our last topic here, and Jeff, you know what it's related to? Who do we talk about every week, even though he's not on the team anymore? It's the Susan asked about the devastation of losing Nick Chubb, and for me, it's in more than one way. It's I'm looking at this like, is it the loss of his leadership? Doesn't matter how Nick performs this year in Houston. Are we going to look back, and regardless of how the rookies play this year, or are we going to look back and say, man, we really should have kept him to help these guys and just to teach them, regardless? Or are we going to say, we just needed a guy like this on the team to show guys how to be professionals? Is that going to be the thought if guys like Sanders or Graham or any of the running backs get into any stupid crap during the season, that you would hope wouldn't have happened if somebody like Nick Chubb was around to just show them how to be a professional? Just a thought. Susan, what was your thought on this as far as the loss of Nick Chubb, and what it could potentially do, what kind of harm it could do, and what concerns you the most about it?
Well, he was one of my favorite players since being drafted 33rd overall. I have t-shirts, jerseys, everything. Everybody knows how much I love Batman. He was the consummate professional in every aspect. All he ever did was show up, work, and go home. Never any drama. Never anything like, oh my gosh, why did he do this? Or, oh my gosh, why is this? There was devastation with him with injury, but there was never any issues when it came to that. And it was, as much as we say kids need role models, sometimes we need role models too. And he was an incredible athletic role model for the Cleveland Browns. And sometimes with all these other issues that we have, we forget how lucky we were to have him, because all he did was work hard and play hard for the organization, and he loved the city. And I'm not saying Mike Ford is like not good or whatever, yada yada, but when you're talking about leadership, and you need leadership in the defensive, the defensive side, you need leadership on the offensive side. You have two rookies that you just drafted. You are hoping that they're going to, probably replace him. But you're asking for leadership, and then you trade away one of the best leaders that we've had on the team. So I'm not going to lie. I cried. Guys, I cried. I get that attached to these players. I really do, especially when they are who they are and what they represent. And I know the contract that was given, we could have brought him back. And I just, in my heart of hearts, I know that he is going to tear it up this next year. And it will be a what did we do kind of moment.
I think for me, I want to see him do well. I'm excited to see him get the chance there in Houston. So I hope he does well. like I've said, I'm going to be a Nick Chubb fan forever. I wanted him to wear the brown and orange for his whole career, but that's not happening. So I'm still a huge Nick Chubb fan. And I didn't tell anybody this, but Nick Chubb posted his farewell letter in his Facebook group and all this stuff. Well, I responded to it, and he responded back, not to me, but I think to everybody who gave him a response. So he gave the same response to everybody. It's not like I know Nick Chubb or anything. I'm not saying that, but he just, so I assume this just went to everybody who responded to his response. And it said, "I would give anything to forever be a Brown. Thanks for the shared memories. Appreciate every one of y'all." This is Nick Chubb after he's, signed with another team, still just giving love to the fans of Cleveland. It's just the kind of guy he was, or is, still the same guy. So that's why he's your favorite player. He was my favorite player, probably Jeff's favorite player. I mean, we're going to miss him, but, we all want to see him do well. So I don't know what else there is to say about Nick. Jeff, do you have anything to say about Nick Chubb? Jeff's like, again?
Yeah. Nothing can be added to that.
Yeah. All right.
Can't really add to that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to get some final thoughts, guys. We got a couple weeks and till we get to training camp, and then we'll start hearing about who's winning positions and getting ready for those preseason games and all that stuff. So, Susan, it's been great talking to you. It's been a little while since we've had you on the podcast, so great catching up, and we thank you for coming on. Again, everybody can follow you at Brownstown76 on X. And do you have closing thoughts tonight you'd like to share with everyone?
Well, thanks again, Jeff and Rod, for having me on. I appreciate it. I love talking Browns football. Expectations, I don't really have any expectations other than I want to see maximum effort every down, no matter if it's preseason, regular season. And I want the people that are supposed to, meaning we know they can produce, show the rest of them how to do it with them. Like a brotherhood, instead of it's this group versus this group, and I hope our defense rocks.
Yeah, sure hope so. Jeff, final thoughts tonight?
I'm just getting all torqued up to be wacko for Flacco, Rod.
Can't wait. It feels like it's been a while. That's right. Well, this has been the Browns Blitz, guys. We thank everybody for listening, checking us out. Of course, appreciate you subscribing to us on YouTube and iTunes and all that. And look forward to hopefully your participation in the podcast. And if you like to appear, shoot me some kind of DM or an email or something. We're happy to have you on the show. So, but that's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you, and we will catch you next time.